This is like a little bonus. I just mentioned weight loss, and again, I didn't have to do this, but because we're going to the new year, and pretty much everybody I talk to at some point asks me certain questions that relate to this. So I'll just very quickly mention that other than what I said already, meaning about including tayyib foods in our diet, practicing the principle of moderation and fasting, those themselves are going to help you to lose weight. But a few other tips, so many of my patients and people I talk to sometimes go through binge or crash diets using like keto or Atkins or paleo and so forth. And again, nothing wrong in doing that for some time, and there are plenty of studies that show that they can help with weight loss. So they do have short-term value. The problem is when you look at it from a long-term span. People really maintain keto or Atkins for the rest of their life? When you start looking at those long-term studies, you start to see some more drawbacks there. And that is why what's best is to look more at making smaller changes, but smaller changes that you can maintain as part of your long-term lifestyle. I wanted to remind our viewers too that weight loss is not simply just a matter of calories in and calories out. I mean, that is part of it because so many people think if they just reduce their calories and they start cutting their intake, they're going to lose weight. But again, that can sometimes work short term, but long term, it does not work because there's much more to it than that. As a simple example, if somebody just ate, two Snicker bars a day and did that for weeks, they'd probably lose some weight. But is it healthy to just eat Snickers bars all day? No, absolutely not. So there's much more that goes into it. There are certain variables that control metabolism, like your hormones and your thyroid and more. So it's not just a matter of calories in and out. Sometimes I tell patients to increase their fiber intake with meals. That's a little hack to make you feel fuller quicker. There's a well-known commercial product called PGX or glucomannan. That's a fiber that swells significantly with water. Some of you may have seen how chia seeds swell in water. This is another type of fiber that swells even more than those. So it can contribute to a feeling of fullness and in a safe way. Some of you may have heard of this term called GLP-1 boosters because of Ozempic and all the hype surrounding Ozempic and the similar products like semaglutide. So again, those are synthetic chemicals that have a very significant effect on GLP-1 in a synthetic way and in a very strong way. That's why they have certain side effects that relate to nausea and fatigue and much more. But my point is there are certain ways to naturally affect GLP-1 and satiation and getting a feeling of fullness. And that's going back to certain basics of consuming proper levels of protein, proper levels of fiber, proper levels of healthy fat. Then there's some specific ingredients like berberine. Curcumin comes from turmeric. There's green tea, cinnamon, and much more that actually help to affect your appetite and GLP-1 and satiation. Other things you can do, like especially if you consider meal replacement, if you have like a blender at home, then it's nice to take up some vegetables or greens. You could add a little bit of fruit, maybe. You could even add a little bit of protein if you like to turn it into a meal. But if you can use that to replace, your bread and your rice and your chawal and all that good stuff, then some of the patients will start to see a difference in weight. The nice thing about the blenders is that they retain the fiber, and fiber in turn moderates insulin resistance. And Allah put fiber in things for a reason. So if you use a juicer and take all that out, it may not be as good. Although the advantage of that is that it does make it easier to digest. Having said all that, I've seen so many patients where they'll say, well, look, I am making an effort on my diet. I hardly eat much. I'm exercising and I'm still not losing any weight. That's when you need to consult certain experts to look into potential hormonal imbalances, sometimes with thyroid, sometimes with cortisol, sometimes with estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and more. So again, you got to really look into detail in your hormone levels. Sometimes food allergy or intolerance can contribute. Poor gut health is another one that people forget about. High levels of toxicity and chronic inflammation associated with other diseases. Even chronic stress itself can contribute to weight gain. So again, those are all big topics, but I'm just throwing that out there if you're struggling, having done other options.